Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Winter's Wish, continuing, well, the common route for Castletown, heading toward Kuga's route, but we're not in his route yet. So anyway, we were talking to the chick who got her hair chopped. After we left, I shared the hypothesis with both Kuga and Yoichi, and they nodded as if they were convinced. Oh right, we found the threads on her or whatever. Okay. It's common for those victimized by the Blightfall to be influenced by them, and we cannot deny the plausibility of your theory.
But are those threads really the Blightfalls? Can you really tell the difference?
That's true. Yoichi's right. It's not like I can tell from just the threads. Come to think of it, when the Blightfall appeared in my village, I remember seeing the black threads coming out of the villagers themselves. Just like with them, it was entirely possible the woman herself was creating the black threads. Though when I saw it in the village, the threads immediately separated from their necks as a single mass. If she's the one making them, it'd be weird for the threads to continue clinging on to her like that.
Hey, you still with us?
Sorry. There was just something I was concerned about.
What exactly are you concerned about?
That's... I'm still not quite sure myself.
I'm not sure. Why?
Yoichi, drop it for now. She has her own thinking to do. Pressuring her won't help. For now, let's head to the next site. We might find some new leads. Right. I should tell everyone about the threads once I've properly collected my thoughts. Anyway, I have to do what I can, for her sake. Witnessing the victim's sorrow directly had instilled a sense of further determination within me. However... The moment I set foot into the scene of the crime, a scream tore its way out of my mouth. There was an unprecedented number of emotional imprints swirling about. Of course, because news of the incident had spread, there was no sign of people around us. What's wrong? I apologize. There's just a lot of emotional imprints. I see. Right. You can see malicious imprint... Oh, malice, sorry. You can see malice imprinted to this place in the form of threads. Yes, there are clearly more threads here than anywhere else. As I reported that, I steeled my mind and tried to shove my hand into a lump of emotional imprints. And then I immediately pulled my hand out, but like I expected, I can't touch these either. Just like how I can't touch the threads on people's necks. I wonder, when emotional imprints separate from the body, do they just stick where they land? In that case, the emotional imprint on the victim is also something that attached to her, either from the Blightfall or the victim herself.
So, when do those emotional imprints usually appear anyway?
Before I knew it, Yoichi was standing next to me while I was deep in thought. Though I was distracted by his observing gaze, I thought about how I should answer. When someone's negative emotions become too much to bear, I think, they probably appear under those conditions for both humans and Blightfall. My whole motherfucking house is covered in just like a spider web of black fucking seething anger and rage right now. So mad at work. I'm so fucking mad and stressed out and pissed off, and I just want to cry and quit. That's all I want to do right now. So, like, I get that. So I'm sure someone who could see threads would be like, Jesus Christ, it's pitch black in here. Because that's how fucking negative I feel right now. But if there are this many emotional imprints, it must have been absolutely terrifying for her. When I think about it that way, I feel really sorry.
Okay, then this is definitely the scene of the crime.
Huh? Again, I don't know why I thought because Kuga showed up that he was the one talking, and I was like, why would he be talking to himself? Okay, sorry, buddy. It's just your toenails really hurt my neck when you're digging them into my skin like that. I love you, but I hate your toenails.
Genjiro, if that's the case, the Kamakiri is most likely a Blightfall like we thought, right?
Yeah, based on the information so far, I'd say it's almost definitely. If only there were traces of the Blightfall somewhere. Spacey, there should be some traces that only you can see. Please investigate carefully. Yes. Then Yuichi and Kuga also started examining the area to see for themselves. They were so indifferent, I started to understand a little more. I suppose this is what a vessel is. It didn't seem like the two had much interest in the victim when we were talking to her earlier either. The victim's feelings have no direct relation to the investigation. Maybe they just deemed it unnecessary information. From an objective point of view, it was the most logical thing to do. Still, it really does feel a little lonely. Maybe it doesn't make sense for me to think about them that way. As I thought about the two of them, Yuichi let out a sigh of frustration.
So what are we gonna do with this place? If we leave it like this, chances are a Blightfall's gonna appear, right?
Oh, yes. There's that problem, too. Huh? Why would Blightfall appear? Normal Blightfall are born from places where negative energy accumulates. The fact that your eyes are seeing a large amount of what you call emotional imprints means there's a high possibility that it might happen here. That makes sense. Right, a lot of emotional imprints means there's just that much negative energy built up.
Come on, you're part of the Hakuseki clan, aren't you? Can't you just use your power to purify the emotional imprints here?
What? That's impossible! I mean, I didn't even know the clan existed until the day before yesterday. And I only started seeing clusters of emotional imprints after I came to Ito.
Setting aside whether you can or can't, why not give it a shot? Who knows, you might be able to do it.
Alright. I'll give it a go. You're like, go away, threads! Disappear, sesame! That doesn't work. Open, sesame, but what do you do to get something to disappear? What's... close teriyaki! Because, like, sesame sauce and, you're like... Disappear sriracha! I don't know. It's not working. I don't know. Well, sesames are seeds. Okay, You're like just trying random fucking shit. Like, what do you... At Yoichi's insistence, I slowly held out my palm toward the concentration of emotional imprints. She's doing exactly what I was doing in my head, like, hand out and magic! I can't touch emotional imprints, but if I do this, maybe I can do something to them. However, no matter how much I focused my thoughts on the palm of my hand, there was no sign of the emotional imprints dissipating. It's no use. They're not disappearing at all.
Can't do it.
Sorry. Members of the Hakuseki clan aren't that much different from you or I. The key difference is that they can see the threads. We have no choice. I'll have to guard this area until sunset. And there's a less than zero chance that the culprit will revisit the crime scene. Plus, I wish to investigate the area a little more.
I'll go talk to the other victims then. We received the documents from the city commissioner, but we still need to check in with the victims directly, right?
Right. I appreciate it.
And then I guess we'll reconvene back at the base. What'll you do?
Stay here with Genjiro. Me?
Yeah, are you staying here with Genjiro, or are you coming with me? I'm fine with whatever.
To be fair, the most logical thing to do would be to go with Yoichi and investigate and ask questions. Because Genjiro doesn't really need you, and you'd probably be more help with Yoichi. Especially with victims, because he has no, well, he's beautiful, so they'll probably tell him whatever he wants to know. But you know what I mean? Because you have feelings, it might be easier to comfort them, you know? So we would theoretically be way more useful going with Yoichi. But that ain't the point of this game. It's which boyfriend. Which boyfriend you want. Right, maybe it'd be better to stay at the scene. The area around here hasn't been fully investigated yet. And if I'm here, I might be able to help in the event that a Blightfall appears. We're next to useless for Blightfalls. Well, except for when the mask isn't their thing. When I reached that conclusion, I raised my hand high in the air. Oh, stay here! Oh, I thought we were going to choose. Interesting. Interesting. I guess they're just in this one kind of like not really. Then I guess you don't really have a choice. I would have thought I mean, again, I would have thought this would have been a great time to have a choice so that you could kind of guide your answer. Cause like, hi, when Kuga was gonna buy you tempura, he was like, I can do it. You could if you turned him if you're like, yeah. That's like, okay, yeah, I'll take a little gift from you. How cute. Points for him. If you're like, nah, don't worry about it. Points for Yoichi. You know, you can kind of see that one. This would have been a really great chance for a thing for you to be like, I want to head down this person's route, so you pick that person. But, yeah, I mean, okay, whatever. I mean, I was going to choose to stay here anyway, because we're trying to bang Genjuro anyway, so. I like how she raised her hand, though. She's like, hi, I haven't, and they're like, you're the only one we're asking a question to. You don't have to raise your hand. However, after an hour of carefully and meticulously examining the crime scene, there weren't really any clues. Right, it seems that way. The area simply had a lot of emotional imprints, and there wasn't much else aside from that. I thought that we could find something connected to the culprit, but it seemed that our task ended in a complete failure. But now we know that there's nothing here. That alone is enough. Building up small amounts of information is important in solving cases like this. It would do well for you to remember that. I will. Now then, all that's left is to keep watch so that Kamakiri, or other Blightfall don't appear from the shadows. But then, as if to interrupt Kuga's words, a pitiful sound echoed throughout the scene. He's like, now we just have to fight Blightfall, and then you're like, I'm hungry. It's probably me. That sound was... It was probably the chirping of a small bird. I'm sure there's a lot of wildlife in Ito. No, that was the sound of your stomach. Like how she's trying to cover it up, though. It's so cute. No, it wasn't. Why are you hiding the truth? I undoubtedly heard that sound come from you. That could be true, but that doesn't mean it was my stomach. I have reason to believe it was. And based on how you acted this morning, you haven't eaten breakfast, have you? And then it stands to reason that you would be hungry. He's so logical, he's like, you're hungry, it's totally fine, you're a human being. There wasn't a hint of thoughtfulness behind those words. His blunt statement had completely shut down any chance of an argument. I'd be like, I'm gonna go grab something to eat. Why do you want to hide the fact that you're hungry? It happens to everyone. I mean, this is exactly it, though. It's the awkwardness of your stomach growling. You're like, oh. And I guess, depending on the time period, maybe now, it'd be more embarrassing. Now your stomach would be growling, and people would look at you, and you're like, be slightly embarrassing, but nothing bad. You know what I mean? You'd be like, that was awkward. But anyway, yeah, I'm hungry. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You just kind of laugh it off. And this would probably be more embarrassing, but it's still funny. She's like, what? No, not my stomach. And he's like, everybody gets hungry, girl. Like, everybody poops, but you're not going to be like, excuse me, I need to go take a giant poop. You're not going to say that. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, I need to use the restroom. Please do not follow me. Especially if you have an upset stomach or something. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to advertise. You're like, I need to go to the bathroom. But, like, food is different. You're like, everybody gets hungry and everybody eats food. Like, and there's less, like, you know what I mean? You're more likely to be like, hey, let's go grab something to eat than, like, let's go party in the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, there's just certain shit that, like, shouldn't be as embarrassing as you're making it out to be. Like being hungry. It's so funny. Here, I have rice balls. It's around lunchtime now. Feel free to eat it. Kuga took out wrappings from his things, and inside were 2 pure white rice balls. He handed them to me. Are you sure? I mean, these are your lunch, right? It's fine. One is enough for me. And as they say, an army marches on its stomach. Well, I suppose... I apologize. Thank you so much. I slowly and cautiously took the rice ball that had been handed to me. The grains of rice were glossy, and it looked incredibly delicious. It definitely wasn't just my hunger that made it look so appealing. All right, thank you for the food. Oh, look, we get a little CG of eating with him. And it's so funny because, again, look, she's like, oh, food, yummy, yummy, yummy. And he's like, I've never seen anyone eat so joyously before. Once again, staring at us intently while we eat. It's so cute. Aw. I immediately bit into it, and it's so good. The rice ball was, as it appeared, nothing more than rice that had been kneaded together with salt water. But the grains were fluffy, even though it was cold, and the more I chewed, the more I could taste its faint sweetness. I never imagined that white rice could be so delicious. When you're fucking hungry, it doesn't matter. You're like, it's so good, I don't care. How is it? Cooking isn't my strongest suit, but I've practiced enough at least to make this. It may be ugly, but it shouldn't taste as bad as it looks. They're perfect little pyramid shapes. It's not ugly at all. This is the first time I've ever had a rice ball as delicious as this. Kuga, you're a rice ball genius. I think it's just because you're dying of starvation, but whatever. Is that right? I don't think it's anything to write home about. No, it is. This wasn't just empty flattery. So, thank you so much for giving me something as delicious as this. That's even cuter because he's like shocked, like it's literally just rice. Like, all while I was thanking him to the best of my ability, Kuga stared straight at me like he did before. Kuga, are you observing me again? I apologize. The way you looked was rather unusual. Is my face that weird when I eat? Yes, it is. Oh, should have fucking expected this from him. He's a next level robot like Kyoshiro, so I should have fucking expected it from him. I swear to God, but I wasn't. Should have, but didn't. You know, like, does my face sound unusual? No, it's just whatever. He's like, yes. Oh, Kuga, I needed you today. Oh. Do I look so weird that he could say that so bluntly? Next time, maybe I should try watching myself eat in a mirror. Oh my God. Oh. I didn't really forget that I liked this game, but I just forgot how fucking ridiculously funny it is and just, like, fluffy and bonkers. You know what I mean? Like, not bonkers, and like some games you're like, none of this makes any sense, it's ridiculous. But this one has just got such lighthearted little giggle moments like this where you're like, yeah, there's moments you're like, oh my God, we're fighting a monster. But then you have moments like this where you're like, it's just so fun. Aww. There's just the little banter and the goofiness. Oh, I love it. Even while I was nervously touching my cheek, Kuga never stopped observing me. He's just going to be that attentive when we fall in love with him, huh? As we talked, the two of us finished eating our rice balls. Thank you for the meal. It was really delicious. I see. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But wow, Kuga, you do your own cooking? I thought that the servants did that for you. That's because I don't have any servants. I have to take care of things myself. That's rare for a samurai. Isn't it inconvenient? No, I've never thought of it that way. Considering my missions with the Oniwaban, it's actually more flexible to be alone. I see. You must be pretty skilled and meticulous. Your rice balls were proper triangles, too. You're like, they were the perfect triangular shape, and if I measured them, they would have been 100% accurate. You know, if I were making them, it would be too, because I have, like, little presses to make little, like, rice balls or little sushi ball thing. I have the little, like... I haven't ever used them, but I got the little thingamajigs to make so that you don't have to do it with your hands. You just, like, put it in a little press. I gave Kuga my honest opinion, and he lowered his head as if he was thinking about something. Do you know the reason why rice balls are in a triangular shape? Huh? No, I don't know. I hadn't expected the conversation to take such a sudden turn. I could do nothing but blink stupidly at the surprising question he asked me. Apparently, the rice ball's shape is supposed to represent a mountain. And just like how each mountain has its own god, the shape of the rice ball is said to house its own deity. Then the rice balls we ate just now also had their own gods? Considering how delicious it was, I couldn't deny the possibility. While I thought to myself casually, Kuga stared at me with surprising seriousness. Well, because if you put stuff inside your rice balls, then they house their own ingredients. So kinda. What I'm trying to say is, like the rice ball, a god lives within you, too. And the reason you can use the power of the Hakuseki clan without any restrictions is probably because you have some sort of divine protection. And now that the clan's been destroyed, it's a valuable power that you and you alone possess. That power... Are you prepared to use it for the shogunate? Kuga was staring daggers at me, and I froze. Oh, okay. We were having a nice moment, and now you got all... Okay. He must have been trying to identify my true intentions. The question reminded me once again of where I stood within the Oniwaban. I can't shy away from the question here. I have to tell him how I really feel. I'm prepared. I don't know. My answer is I don't know, because I don't know. I mean, to be fair, she would be honest if she wasn't sure and be like, I don't know. I don't know because, I haven't been able to process everything that's happening, so I haven't had a lot of time to kind of consider it. But we know from the other routes she's absolutely prepared to do this. So, but is that something she grows in over time? I'm not sure. That's I don't know. Okay. But honest. To tell you the truth, I'm actually not certain. As you're already aware, I came all the way to Edo because I received a summons from the shogunate. Not only do I not fully understand the Oniwaban's missions, I don't even know if I can truly be helpful to everyone. But this is where I need to be. I don't think I can tell you I'm prepared with full confidence, but I want to work hard so that one day I'll be able to. That's what I think. I tried to give an answer that was considerate, and Kuga looked as if he was caught off guard. I see. So you do think differently. It seemed that Kuga understood me a little better after hearing my answer. No matter who the other person is, it's important to tell them how you feel, right? Yes, remember that when you fall in love with him. I want to build a relationship of trust with everyone in the Oniwaban too. I mean, obviously it's going to be very similar in all the routes because they're vessels, they have no emotion, something's going to make them crack, obviously us. And we're going to crack down their walls and like whatever, and then fall in love with them, whatever. But I don't want it to be the exact same scenario every time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we tell them we have feelings, and they're like, oh, but I'm a vessel. You can't fall in love with me. And then we're all sad. And then all of a sudden they realize they have feelings for us, but everybody thinks they're evil. And you know what I mean? Like, exactly like Tojo's. You know what I mean? I want it to be kind of different. And I don't want us to, like, do the exact same thing. Like, just at least the first step in Tojo's was like, confess to him that you have feelings, and him be like, silly girl, I have no emotions, I'm a robot. And then you feel horrible, and then he's like, oh, actually, I love you. And you're like, haha, joke's on you, I gave up on that. I don't, the same exact. Even if they don't have the, we're going to throw you in prison and you're evil. I really hope they definitely don't do that, because that'd be 100%. But there's going to be similarities, because they all start out emotionless little robots. So, it's kind of curious. I'm kind of curious as like how they're going to make these different enough so it doesn't feel stale, while not making it. Well, that doesn't make sense for the type of people they are. You know what I mean? So, after we finished our break, we continued our watch while hidden in the shadows. Being the scene of a crime, it was less populated than usual. But even so, a few people would pass through every once in a while. Yet among these people, not a single person possessed black threads. If they're connected to the case, they should have emotional imprints clinging to them like the victim we met earlier. But still, sure is quiet around here. It must have been around 4.5 bells since the last resident walked past. With nothing to do, I decided to glance to my side. Kuga was staring at the street without so much as a yawn. Oh, they said the word yawned. Sorry. Oh. Kuga Koga has such amazing concentration. I should follow his example. He's just sleeping with his eyes open. In that moment, I heard a poison. A poisons? I saw persons and voice, and it came out poisons. Person's voice coming from somewhere. When I looked, I saw a woman casually walking from further down the road. The woman had long, beautiful hair. There it is. But the real problem was behind her. The darkness made it difficult to see, but behind her stood a dark silhouette. At the same time, it looked as though the emotional imprints around us were beginning to gather towards the dark figure. That's when you hit him and you're like, someone's coming after her. It was something I had seen before at my home village. I immediately yelled, "Koga, the black threads!" "Leave it to me." As I raised my voice, Kuga nimbly leapt out onto the street. A dark figure, which had already transformed into a blightfall, now stood directly behind the woman. But it was completely different from the spider monster I had first seen in my home village. A beak sharp as a pair of scissors, a body obviously different from a human's, seemingly woven from black threads. And of course a mask where its face should be, proof that it was a blightfall. It can't be. Is that the Kamakiri? "You over there, run!" "Huh? What? A samurai?" At that point, it seemed that she finally noticed that something was wrong. Unfortunately, rather than running away, the woman stood still and stared at Kuga in confusion. Given the chance it was obvious what the enemy would do next, "Girl, we need to jump out and grab her." "Watch out!" "Huh? Oh no, she won't make it!" "Not on my watch." At the last second, Kuga cut his way in between the blightfall and the woman. Though he didn't directly strike the mask, he was able to slice through the blightfall's shoulder. "What's that? Are you alright?" She must have been surprised at everything happening so suddenly. I hurried over to the woman, who had fallen over in shock. For now, we need to get out of here quickly. With that thought, I tried to move the woman, but it seemed she couldn't stand up. Oh, dear God, don't be a fainting violet. What should I do? Do I have to carry her? Scream at her, "Get the fuck up and run, bitch!" All while I was figuring out what to do, the battle between Kuga and the Kamakiri had begun. The Kamakiri used its beak to skillfully parry the countless slashes Kuga was doling out. But Kuga was the more experienced fighter. The Kamakiri, completely on the defense, seemed unable to set up a proper counterattack. As the fight raged on, the Kamakiri was staggered by a heavy blow. Just when it cried out, "It's over!" Kuga was about to deal the finishing blow. It was at that moment. Huh? To our surprise, a new blightfall had appeared as if to protect the Kamakiri. It was likely drawn in by the large number of emotional imprints that happened to be present. I was gonna say, well, we're gonna, kill this thing, right? Because, at least in the in the Samurai Town one, the very beginning was the, what's his face? Why can't I think of his name? I can never remember his name. That incident. And that took a couple chapters. That wouldn't have been over in the first chapter. So I was like, well, you're going to beat the Kamakiri, which is the Kamakiri case, which is the starting case here, before you get into the deeper... because it seems like... So we had the... Why can't I fucking remember his name? Our goofy little brow friend in the woods. Nope. That was a different name in a different game. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. That he was the main overarching plot of the common route, and then Tojo's was the kids in the school, because that was pertinent to him. So Tominari will probably have something different. So Castletown, this Kamakiri, will be the overarching for the common route for Castletown. And then there'll be something separate for each one of the characters' routes. So you can't kill the thing till a little later anyway. You know what I mean? You can't do it right now. We're not there yet. So, anyway. The second Blightfall let out a frightful roar and, swinging its long arms like whips, attacked Kuga. Damn reinforcements. To evade the blow, Kuga was forced to jump back. We were so close. There was no way the enemies would miss that opening. Judging that it was at a disadvantage, the Kamakiri instead tried to escape into the darkness. Ugh, you won't escape! Naturally, Kuga tensed his arms to slash at the monster's back once more, but before he could, the other Blightfall interrupted him with a punch from its tentacle. Out of my way! In a split second, Kuga dispatched it with ease. From the onset, it wasn't an enemy that he would have had trouble fighting one-on-one. It just needed to be enough of a distraction, though. However, it got away. It was already too late. The Kamakiri had vanished without a trace. Considering the situation, I wasn't able to observe too carefully, but it might have turned back into black threads. To think that two would appear at once.
What? What you want? You're sitting up there, but if you want snugs, my hand's over here.
After that, we escorted the woman who had been attacked back to her home. What was that thing? Will it come for me again? If that happens, then what should I... Don't worry, you're safe now. The monster's already gone. You're lying! You can't expect me to believe that! I don't want to see that horrid thing ever again! I have to sneeze. The shock of being attacked by a mysterious monster was more than enough to break the woman's spirit. I could do nothing but stroke her back as her threads transformed into various colors. On her back there were a few strings of black thread that had not been there moments ago, clinging as if to haunt her. As we had suspected, the emotional imprints on the victims were created by the Kamakiri. Figuring out that fact alone could be considered a mission accomplished for me. Yet I still felt dissatisfaction. Things can't go on like this. I can't help everyone if the only thing I'm capable of is seeing threads. Okay, we just have to warn every woman in Castletown, just wear your hair up and put a bonnet on. Hair tucked in, guys too. In order to protect people, I needed to learn how to fight. After seeing the harsh reality of combat, that was what I had determined. The next day, we talked with each other about the Kamakiri. We had reported the incident itself yesterday, but since it was late at night, we saved examining the details for today. Of course, I revealed to everyone that emotional imprints could become attached to people attacked by Blightfall. I fear the Kamakiri may be a human that's turned into a Blightfall. Maybe it was a woman and she's jealous of other ladies' hair and that's why she's chopping it off. If what Spacey saw was true, emotional imprints were gathering toward a silhouette, which means it wasn't a Blightfall from the start. So the key to solving this case lies in finding the person that forms the basis of the Kamakiri. After hearing Kuga's report, Miyagi summed up the discussion as such. It seemed that neither Kuga nor Yoichi had anything to say, so they nodded in silence. But as for me, even that short summary was full of things I didn't quite understand. Is it common for humans to turn into Blightfall? I'd heard about it before, but I didn't think that I would encounter one so soon. No, it's a fairly rare occurrence. Humans don't become a Blightfall unless they're holding on to a severe amount of malice or despair. So, just by nature of being a human Blightfall, they become a fairly formidable opponent? That's right. I understand being involved in a case like this so suddenly can be daunting, but I want you to prepare yourself accordingly. Right. It makes sense. The Kamakiri was a little different from the usual Blightfall. I need to make sure I don't become dead weight. By the way, other than humans, can anything else become Blightfall? Like form folk or animals? I've neither seen nor heard about it. Form folk are originally tools, and animals don't have complex emotions, so it's assumed they can't become Blightfall.
Is that true? You don't have very complex emotions. Use mad bird, use a happy bird, use like, oh, I need to protect mommy and make her feel better bird. But you're not very complex emotions. Although right now you feel very complex emotions. You're like, I love you, I want you to pet me, but fuck you, you're not petting me right, I'm mad about it. I feel like right now you're being very complex. But I do like the fact that he didn't say animals don't have emotions. He said complex ones. You have very simple emotions. Right now you're mad. Right now you're very mad. You're very bitey and feisty and nasty. And now you're like, oh, now don't move your hands and I be cuddly boy. What? You just a very mad boy. You're just very angsty, aggressive birdie right now. You're like, pet me, bitch. And then you're like, fuck you, don't pet me. I'll fucking bite you. I feel like that's as complex as you get.
The reason why vessels can become blightful is because they're more similar to humans, so... Is that so? In my eyes, form folk were more similar to humans because they also have threads. There must be some sort of key difference that I don't know about.
So, can I get my report next?
Yes, please go ahead. Yuichi then began taking out documents from his pockets and placing them where we could see.
Yesterday I talked with the 5 previous victims listed in the city commissioner's documents. As a result, we now know that there are there are 3 commonalities between all of the Kamakiri's victims.
They're women, they have long hair. I guess that's the first.
You're making weird nose picking at your toes. The first, they're all women. Second, they were all attacked around nightfall. And third, they have long and beautiful hair.
But I mean, if women don't really cut their hair, I mean, I guess it's super long, beautiful hair. You could just still have like average length meh hair. When I heard the third commonality, I remembered the victims I had met yesterday. While I couldn't confirm it for the woman whose hair had already been cut, the woman who managed to escape truly did have long and beautiful hair. You could tell the girl with the short hair, you could tell she once had long, beautiful hair. You could tell her hair is beautiful and short.
Outside of those conditions, there were no similarities in race, age, or status. The victims didn't know each other.
I mean, to be fair, wouldn't everybody be Japanese? So technically. So it likely wasn't personal.
Exactly.
Hearing that, a sudden question arose within me. So the person who became a Blightfall is just jealous of long, beautiful hair. So what happened? She was ridiculed for having not pretty hair, or her hair had been cut off, so she's mad at girls with long, pretty hair, basically. If race doesn't matter, does that mean it also attacks form folk? Oh, I guess that's true. That's what they mean. I wasn't really thinking about that. But form folk, vessels, and human in that kind of sense. Okay. I'm like thinking you're in a city and it's like, well, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever, it's attacking everybody. And it's like, well, but I mean, how many white people you got running around this city at this point? You know what I mean? Kind of forgot about the form folk vessels and whatever. Form folk are proteans, so even if their hair was cut, they just turn back to normal, right? Protean, since a form folk's appearance is based on its owner's memories and can be changed at will, injuries can be reversed. Minor changes to their appearance take lots of energy, so they can't make more changes until they've recovered. And because the cut hair is also just an illusion, I'm pretty sure it would disappear immediately. In regards to the cut hair, you're right. But the body wouldn't be as easy to repair. How come? When formfolk are attacked by Blightfall, they become weakened and unable to properly use their transformation abilities. That means they wouldn't be able to regenerate their hair. And just like yesterday's victim, they'd probably fall ill as well. They would? Which means as long as the Kamakiri can harm people with beautiful hair, it doesn't care who it targets. And no relation between the victims. That definitely makes it harder to narrow down the suspect. You know! Okay, well, except for the fact that Kuga's hair is like chopped. He doesn't have a super long, flowy, gorgeous Hakuoki type ponytail. But if he did, you know, and Yoichi's hair is kind of tied up. But I mean, I'm just saying, you know, they could cut their hair. I mean, their hair is not as long and beautiful. It's long, it's man long and beautiful, I guess. Miyagi doesn't have to worry. He's got the tiniest little, like, itty bitty little poofy Pomeranian ponytail going on over there. It's just so funny, actually. It's like a little puffball. Don't you want to, like, pat it? Bing, bing, bing. His wife might get mad at you. Don't touch his hair, guys.
But wait, and this isn't confirmed just yet. Truthfully, I wasn't able to talk to one of the victims because I didn't have enough time yesterday.
See, because, like, his hair looks like it's up in a clip. It looks like if you took it down, his hair is probably almost hitting his waist. His hair seems long. And actually, Kinji has gorgeous long hair, but Kinji also plays a woman on stage, so maybe that's why his hair's so long and glorious.
I can't say anything definitive until we hear from her.
And there were still other victims? In terms of numbers, I thought this was everyone.
They came out later, actually. It wasn't on the city commissioner's documents, but I heard rumors when we were out investigating yesterday.
In that case, we should go talk to her at once. If we want to figure out the Kamakiri's identity, we need as much information as we can get. All right, I'll be leaving that up to you then. After we said that much, Kuga and Yoichi stood up in order to leave. It seemed that the conversation was already over. Oh no! If they leave, then I won't be able to bring up that. Please wait a second. Once I shouted in order to stop everyone, they all turned to look at me. Is everything okay? Though Miyaji was being candid, Kuga and Yoichi simply stared at me emotionlessly. Though I felt unnerved by their coldness, I opened my mouth in order to speak my opinion. There's something I'd like to ask of everyone. I'd like to be taught how to fight. The air was thick with mixed emotions after I had summoned the courage to make my request. They're going to be like, why? You can't use the snow sacrament. I mean, it doesn't mean I can't defend myself. At least I'll be able to maybe defend myself, you know? Even if I can't do much to help. Everyone looked at each other like they were confused, after which they each told me how they felt. Yoichi looks pissed. Kuga looks like he feels sorry for me, like, oh, silly. Girls can't do that. Girls can't pick up weapons. You're too weak. Like, he just doesn't want to have to be the one to tell me. He's like, oh, sweetie. That's not going to happen. And then Miyagi is like, he doesn't know how to process, and he just blue screened. Why? Well, there's no need for that. I told you before.
That's right. Besides, a newbie trying too hard would just slow us down.
Your power's one of a kind, so we'd appreciate it if you stayed safely in the back. Well, that's true, but I really want to learn how to fight. Please. Once I doubled down on my request, Miyagi tilted his head in confusion. Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Because I let the Kamakiri get away. If I'd been able to fight even a little bit, we could have exterminated the Kamakiri yesterday. Kuga wasn't able to defeat the Kamakiri that time because enemy reinforcements had appeared. But if I was skilled enough to fight the Blightfall, I could have helped take on the reinforcements. Then maybe Kuga would have... I'm a member of the Oniwaban too, and I want to be helpful to everyone. So, please. I kind of get why they're having her ask in this one and not, like, in Samurai Town. Because if we had asked, I feel like Tominari would have been like, no, and Tojo would have been like, okay, I'll teach you how to fight. Cool. Let's go out and play fetch now. You know what I mean? Because the labradoodle that he is, you know what I mean? Like, he absolutely would have been like, okay, sure, I'll teach you. Because he's just that kind of guy. And Yoichi's like, don't waste my motherfucking time. I don't even, oh dear God, this meeting's going on forever. He's me at work. Oh, shut up and stop asking questions. It's 1 minute past time for me to leave. I hate this. Stop it. And Kuga's like, yeah, that makes no logical sense. You know what I mean? Tominari is the like, no, I'm going to protect you because you're my princess somehow. So, you know, like, again, absolutely gives Xavier from Love and Deep Space vibes. And, you know, as you guys pointed out, same voice actor, so that does not help dispel that in my brain. But anyway, I lowered my head deeply and told them my request, simply and honestly. Then the three of them exchanged looks again, as if they were confirming each other's opinions. If that's your reason, then, personally speaking, I would like to teach you, but what do you two think? I agree. Her claims are true, and as someone who was in that situation, I can understand what she's saying.
You say fight, but how? She's a woman and she doesn't even look like she has enough strength to use a wakizashi properly.
You know, I can't wait to slap the smug attitude off your face. I'm a woman. I mean, fair time period wise, I can't really be mad at him and be like, whoa, there's not a lot of feminism going around here. But you know, to be fair, I probably do not have a lot of strength. I'm very delicate, so. If that's the issue, I have an idea. Yoichi, why don't you teach her how to fight? What? Yoichi furrowed his brows at Kuga's suggestion. The disquieting atmosphere was distracting, but if anything, Kuga's statement had grabbed my attention. If Yoichi teaches me, I'll be able to fight as well? Yeah, I think you'll be able to. In fact, Yoichi's one of the better hand-to-hand fighters in the Oniwaban. He's especially good at parrying the enemy's attacks or using their power to counter them. Now that I think about it, if you learn his style, you might even stand a fighting chance. Miyaji uttered the last part like he was talking to himself and then turned to face Yoichi with a bright smile. I feel like, okay, I understand her wanting to fight and doing all this, but again, I feel like the learning to fight is more, especially if you're going to learn with Yoichi, is definitely more Yoichi route. But again, I understand, so then you get closer to him while you're learning, or otherwise you're like, okay, thanks, bye, and then you peace out. So. Yoichi, next time you're free, would you mind teaching her? Yoichi's like, yes. Oh, look at him looking at us so mad. Oh. But Yoichi didn't even attempt to answer. Instead, he turned away as if to imply he didn't hear Miyaji's voice. Hello? Yoichi, what's the matter, buddy? Yoichi, this is an order from your superior. Well, it wasn't really. It was a question he asked. I'll do it when I feel like it. Responding to Kuga's chiding voice, Yoichi finally answered. Which meant, it's decided, right? Oh, you're cute. Yoichi, maybe will help you. I'm looking forward to the lessons, Yoichi. Oh, he's so mad, I love it. But all he did was glance at me, refusing to respond. He's really going to be my teacher, right? Though I felt a pang of uncertainty from his attitude, I was relieved that the conversation was moving on. He doesn't wanna. Afterward, we visited the row house once more to talk with the final victims. The final victim, sorry. We'd already told them what we were there for, so we were waiting outside for the owner of the house to finish preparations. Apparently the owner of this place got her hair cut short all of a sudden. Yoichi quietly whispered to us so the residents inside couldn't hear. Is that so? On top of that, according to the neighbor, she hasn't taken a single step out of the house recently. She's probably not looking too good. How is she getting by? If she can't leave, then she wouldn't be able to prepare food. Her family probably does that for her. It's not like she's living alone. Ah, I see. If the person living here really was attacked by the Kamakiri, timeline-wise, that'd probably make her the first victim. In any case, it seems we need to hear more about what happened. Oh, look! She actually has a sprite! Oh, her kimono's so cute. I apologize for the wait. During our conversation, a young girl poked her head out from behind the door. She doesn't look like she has short hair unless she was she tied it up into a bun. Though I hadn't noticed it at the start, judging from the wooden tablet around her wrist, I assumed she was a form folk. Is she serving the resident of the row house? If you're looking for my master, she's in the back. Follow me. Oh, okay, so she's just the interesting, though. Well, but you know what's-his-face had a sprite. But why does the form folk servant get a sprite? Interesting. Interesting. Yes, thank you. Although because then it's like because you remember why the fuck can't I remember his fucking name? There's too many T names and they're all and I want to say Tonodamaru, but that was fucking 9-Rip and that was the dog TV show. Why do I want to call that? You know what I mean? The guy who thought he was fucking what's the Yoshimune's son? You know, why can't I remember his name? Or bro dude. Anyway, but like he had a sprite and he was like I want to say the main antagonist. There, you know, air quotes around that. He wasn't like of the Samurai Town route. And now Form Folk Girl so it's like, are you turning into a Blightfall and chopping people's hair off? It is something why do you have a sprite and nobody else does? You know what I'm saying? That makes me feel sus of her. Not like in a bad way, like I think she's like it would be like a I can't control it or whatever. Or she's being puppeted because she's a form folk, you know, something, I don't know. But anyway. Guided by the somewhat listless girl, we entered one of the rooms in the row house. She's going to play a bigger role, though. I apologize for how I look. I haven't been feeling well lately. There, resting in her bed, was one woman. She sat up just a little and lowered her head in a small bow. She's... From the moment I saw her, I knew that this woman was a victim of the kamakiri. It was practically impossible to disguise her hair, which had been roughly hacked off at the shoulders. And there were black threads clinging to her shoulders. Since they come from Blightfall, she has to be one of the victims. The room itself has lots of emotional imprints too, so there's no doubt about it. Her surroundings were worse than the first victims we talked with, and I unconsciously shivered. I apologize for visiting while you're ill. My name is Kuga. I was sent to reinvestigate the incident. The two in the back are Yoichi and Spacey, who will be helping me today. Yes. Thank you very much for the explanation. Oh, the lady. Okay. Nice to meet you, Mr. Samurai. My name is Otone, and this is my form folk, Mitsu. Pleasure to meet you. After Otone's introduction, the form folk standing at her side, Mitsu, also lowered her head in a deep bow. You know, I just think it's interesting that she's got a sprite, so she's going to play a pivotal part in the common realm. Yes, nice to meet you. And today I have a few things I'd like to ask you in regards to the incident where your hair was cut. What incident are you talking about? The Kamakiri case, of course. It cut your hair too, correct? So I was hoping to ask you about... Oh my, that's not true, Mr. Samurai. I have nothing to do with that incident. What? Also, she has a name. Nobody else had a name. Otone's casual denial made us all freeze for a moment. However, Kuga quickly recovered and continued to speak. But Otone, your hair is... Oh, I cut it myself and sold it to a wig store is all. Yeah, that sounds like bullshit. Huh? Why? My family's very poor. If I hadn't done this, we wouldn't have been able to survive. Sounds feasible, but we can see the threads. It's a truly embarrassing story. The more Otone explained things, the more she shrank in on herself from embarrassment. But now that she mentions it, it seems like there are only women in this house. It must have been difficult to make money. There's farm folk too, so I can imagine there are quite a few expenses. But if that's true, why do you seem to be in such poor condition? Are you sick or something? I don't know the reason. A little while after I sold my hair, I started feeling ill out of nowhere. Because of this sickness, the money that I got from selling my hair is all gone. I took great care in growing it, too. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel sorry for Mitsu. Master, please don't say such things. You make me happy just by being here. Mitsu,
am truly fortunate to have you by my side.
As if encouraging the frail-hearted Otone, Mitsu kindly stood by her side. The emotional imprints on Otone's back continued to stick to her even during that time. I mean, Mitsu's super fucking pretty. Look at her. Then those emotional imprints aren't from the Kamakiri? Oh yeah. I've seen black thread stuck to people who died from disease or accidents before. Oh, is she like that sick that she's dying? But in those situations, I feel like it was the threads on their necks that had changed color. However, it was something I'd seen quite some time ago. If someone asked if I was absolutely certain, I wouldn't be so sure.
Did all of you come this way just to investigate the Kamakiri case?
I don't know that Atone's old and she sounds old, but she's very sick, so it's okay she sounds old. That was what we had planned, but it seems that our information was wrong. I apologize.
No, please don't worry about it. It's been a long time since I've been able to talk with so many people. It was fun. And you all investigated the Kamakiri case, yes?
Yes.
I've only heard rumors, but no matter the reason, it's unforgivable to cut a woman's hair. If someone's really doing such horrible things, please hurry and catch them.
All we could do was nod at Atone's earnest plea. After that, unless... Oh, you know what? Okay. Alright, I got it. It's Mitsu's the one doing it. But maybe she doesn't know she's doing it. Because remember, what's-his-face was the one controlling the Blightfall to do stuff. You know, because someone... And they kind of, like, used shit again. Oh, wait, huh? Oh, you're really, like, you know, Yoshimune's son and, like, blah, blah, blah. And he's denying you. And then he's like, yeah! And then you're getting all angry. And it's like, oh, he was manipulated. Think about this. Otone chopped off all of her hair to sell to a wig store to make money to be able to feed her family, right? Mitsu is like her form folk, so obviously like thinks of her as like, oh, my master, like whatever, and is there with her and has probably known her for a long fucking time, all of Mitsu's life, to be fair, right? So she sees Otone chop off all of her hair to make money, and then she's seeing all these other, and she's like, this is awful that you had to do this, that there was no other way to make money, that you had to chop off your hair, right? Because it's very important culturally and like, you know, obviously. So then you're just seeing all these other women going about their lives in their fucking like Herbal Essences shampoo commercial hair flowing in the breeze behind them. And you're like, fuck those bitches. And something, how she ended up doing it and why the Blightfall is chopping hair, but somehow it's tied to her in this situation. You can kind of see it, right? You can be like, I was just so mad and upset that my master had to chop off all of her beautiful hair, and why does everyone else get to live life with their glorious, beautiful hair? And it's like a kind of bitter, little angry thing, and then like probably being manipulated somehow by someone somewhere with the Blightfall and chopping off the hair and stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's gonna somehow tie to that, and she's gonna be our quote-unquote antagonist. Even though at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, no, I kind of understand, and she was manipulated, and I don't think she was doing it on purpose to be malicious. It was just, you know what I mean? Like, what's-his-face wasn't... Like, he was controlling the Blightfall and doing douchey things, but it's like, you were being manipulated, and did you do the wrong thing? Yes. But if someone hadn't manipulated you, lied to you, and, you know, you weren't so innocent and naive, you wouldn't have fallen for that shit, and then kind of did some dick shit. So that's the same with Mitsu. You know, it's going to be like, oh, well, you're nice and sweet, and you care so much for Otone that, like, when all this bad shit happened, it was easy to manipulate you, and they make you angry and do something horrible that you know was fucking wrong, and you did some bad shit, and you pulled some dick moves. You know what I mean? Probably. Because she's got a sprite, so, like, ding, 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 makes her look sus, and now you can kind of understand. Because at first I was thinking Otone is, like, lying, and is like, no, I don't want to admit it, but then she's like, no, I chopped off my hair, and it's like, okay, wait, I see what's going on here, so. It's gonna be something like that, you know? But Anyway, we're at time now, so I'm going to stop here because it's going to be like 3 hours in this. Again, it's either 2 minutes or it'll be 20 minutes. Sometime, I don't know, I feel like in this route, the scenes don't feel as long as they did in Samurai Town, but I don't know. I could be imagining things. Maybe I just haven't noticed, but well, it's just because I'm like, oh, we've got like a few minutes left. Okay, let's stop now, as opposed to we got a few minutes, and then you're like, okay, it's been 10. So, anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.